Alrighty. Can you hear me okay? Okay, so the mic has to be pretty close to your mouth. If you can't hear yourself in your headset, then the mic's not picking you up. Alright, I'll tell you a little bit about the airplane here.
Cruise traffic, quick rank 732 plane, back taxi runway 36, cruise through.
That's that guy over there who just called. He was going to back taxi. He's getting ready to move out onto the runway and taxi to the end for takeoff. Yeah, he flies a lot too. And this is kind of a small airport to be flying a good-sized twin out of. He's a good pilot, though. He has no problem.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if that was you or not.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the airplane, we talked about the seat belts. The canopy is here, and it just goes into these little grooves, pushes forward and latches.
Okay.
So canopy, if you have to release it to get out, slide it back and pop it open. Primary flight controls are the stick and the rudder pedals. So the stick controls the wings and the tail to bank and pitch the airplane. Rudder pedal controls the rudder, which turns the airplane side to side, and also steers the tail on the ground.
Okay.
The tail wheel is tied to the rudder also.
Oh, okay.
So that's how we drive it on the ground is with the rudder and our feet. We have our engine throttle and our mixture control here. Unlike modern computer controlled engines, it's all basic. So we, as the pilot, adjust the mixture as needed to get the engine running smoothly, and that's because at ground, we're at one altitude and we might go up to 15,000 feet, and so we have to have a way to compensate for the mixture as the air gets leaner. Okay. We have our main instrument display here, so you'll see it's broken up into this side over here has all our flight instruments, and it has information like our airspeed right here and our altitude. So right now we're not moving, so we're showing 0 airspeed. And then our altimeter here, the little box here is in feet above sea level. So we're at about 1,000 feet. So I'm just going to adjust it so it's calibrated on the ground before we start. We're at 1,000 feet, sea level. And then we have all of our engine instruments here. So we have our engine RPM, our fuel, oil pressure and temperature, and then our cylinder. These are our cylinder head temps and our exhaust gas temps. So we use the cylinder head and exhaust gas temps to make sure that the engine is running smoothly, it's delivering power, all that. And he's gone. We also use that to help us know whether we're running too rich or not. So we'll adjust them based on what we see on the gauges. It's got map features and navigation. Switch over to the map, and it gives us our map view. And so we use that to find airports, and it displays obstacles and roads. And these little red chevrons are towers. So the way it's color coded, anything red is higher than you are, so it's a potential collision.
Regional traffic, 732 plane Yankee, departing area to the east. Bruceville.
So what we'll do is where are we here? There we go. Program our GPS. And it gives us all of our information, our distance, our direction. Once we get moving, it'll give us our arrival time, all that kind of stuff. All think we're ready to start taxiing. Roosterville traffic, Sonic 604, Charlie Mike, back taxi 36, Roosterville. That's just a call into the wild, just alerting anybody of what we're doing, because we're going to be on the runway, occupying it.
Nice.
Unlike a tower-controlled airport, the tower would give us instructions on what to do, and they would also make sure that people aren't going to conflict with each other. On an uncontrolled or a non-towered airport, the pilots have to do that themselves. So we're just checking the engine and the ignition system. Everything's looking good. Airplane engines have redundant ignition in them, so that if there's a problem on one side, you have a whole second set of plugs and distributor and spark, all that stuff. And then we check that before every flight to make sure that both sides are working properly. And I'm just waiting for just another minute or so. The oil temp is almost up to where I want to see it. Oil temp is currently at 95. I really want to see that at 100. And then we know the oil is warmed up and circulating, and we'll give it just another moment.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll just do our final checklist here. So seatbelts are tight. Canopy is locked. Trim is set. Our switches are set properly. We're on the right radio frequency. Our altimeter is programmed. Got a full tank of gas. Engine is warmed up and ready for takeoff. Fuel valve is on. Our flight controls are not jammed up. Good. You'll feel in normal flight the stick will sit about here. You might feel it bump into you and all that. It's not a problem. When the stick comes all the way back, you'll feel it get a little close to you. Again, it's not a problem if it bumps into you. You don't have to try to, avoid touching it at all costs. What you don't want to do is like flop your leg against it and put pressure. All right, so that's the checklist. That is complete. And if you are ready to go, then we will go.
Check.
All right. Smithville traffic, Sonic 604 Charlie Mike, departing 36 Brewsterville. All right, Mixture Rich, stick is back. Track and center line, throttle coming up. Airspeed alive. A little bit of wind coming off the trees. Kind of felt it bobble a little bit. Yeah.
An amazing view. So interesting seeing it all from...
Lee Summit traffic, RV 597 there, right downwind for runway 11 at Lee Summit. This will be a full stop.
60 at 3. Visibility 10. Clear below 12,000. Temperature 13 Celsius. Dew point 7. Altimeter 3029.
Alrighty, well, we're up and we'll level off here for just a minute. Get our engine set for cruise. Once we get up over the low level stuff, you know, the wind is kind of rolling over, right? Once we get over that stuff, the air typically smooths out quite a bit.
At 140 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
Yeah. Are you using that air?
A little bit.
Okay. I was going to say, because if you're not, just close it off.
Okay. Yeah, it's no big deal either way.
So we got Smithville right out in front of us here. Got to make sure we don't get too close into Kansas City International. It's hard to see, but if you look straight out off our wing, you'll see the tower sticking up out of there.
Yeah.
And so there's a ring of airspace around them that we have to get permission to go inside. We're right at the outside edge. We just got to make sure we stay out of it till we clear.
Where are we? Oh, we're right here in the green circle?
Yep, right with that. And so these blue circles would depict the airspace around us. So we're right on that side of this circle there.
Yeah.
But we got a good look at Smithville here.
It's a lot smaller than it is on the ground.
Yeah. Looks like it's down just a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of tree stumps on that side up there. So this plane will scoot along pretty good. I mean, we're doing almost 160 right now.
That's awesome.
And if you know the big power plant that's kind of over by Leavenworth on the river, that's the plume that we're seeing over there.
Oh.
So if you've ever been over by the bridge and looked upriver and seen that power plant in the distance, that's what we're looking at.
Okay. Amazing what you can see at 1,400 feet.
Yeah.
Advise, this contact information Alpha. Figure transmitted Alpha 1253 Zulu operation. Wind calm, visibility 10, sky clear, temperature 090, dew point 090. Altimeter 3031.
Still a little scratchy. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you about the volume controls on that headset. There's a little box behind over here that we can adjust the volume. I don't know if that's too loud or too quiet or what.
It's just right.
Okay, good. We'll have to dial that weather report back up here in a moment. Great clarity today. A lot of times in the summer, you get this sort of hazy layer that just sits on top of us, and you can't see very far. But on a day like today, crisp, clean air, and great visibility.
No kidding. It looks so flat.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome that you built this airplane and here we are flying.
Well, I'll tell you, it's been a really great experience. I learned a lot building it. I have a ton of fun flying it. And part of the fun is just taking new people and exposing them to it.
Yeah, I can see that.
So there's quite a lot of activity in the Kansas City area. You know, there's a bunch of little airports kind of ringed around the city. You go over to the Kansas side, and there's a really great grass strip over there at Gardner. They've got one paved strip and then two grass runways. And so all of the sport aviation, the antique airplanes, all that kind of stuff, they flock to that airport because grass is really forgiving to fly off of. It's softer, and you know it doesn't grab the tires like pavement does. They can just roll it on in. It's a lot of fun flying over there, and so it's kind of the hub of just recreational and just sport aviation in the area. So a lot of times we'll go over there on weekends and go hang out with those guys. They do Young Eagle rides for kids, and it's a program, it's a national program, that pilots everywhere volunteer their time to take kids on a first flight and just give them a really good, positive experience in a small airplane. They do that usually about once a month in the summer, and they'll do a pancake breakfast out of the hangar. So you fly in, you pay your $5, and watch airplanes take off and fly kids. All right, let me switch over to the tower and see what's going on here.
Advise, initial contact, give information Alpha. Schedule confirmation Alpha 1253, Zulu observation. Wind calm, visibility 10, sky clear, temperature 09er, dew point 09er. Altimeter 3031, effective visual approach, runway 35 in use. Winds at a route located midfield. Advise, initial contact, give information Alpha.
Amazing that I don't see a plane in the air at all.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet right now. So St. Joe is out there in front of us. You can just kind of see the river winding around. And the airport is right out in front of us, about 10 miles out. Kind of hard to see, but you know it's in that flat area right out there. We're actually going to turn just a little bit to make getting lined up with the runway a little easier on us. St. Joe Tower, experimental 604 Charlie Mike.
Strong 604 Charlie Mike, St. Joe Tower.
St. Joe Tower, 4 Charlie Mike is approximately 10 miles southeast, inbound with Alpha for landing.
4 Charlie Mike, report a 2-mile right base to runway 35.
Okay, we'll report 2-mile right base for runway 35 for Charlie Mike. So what he did is he told us to just continue to approach the airport and report on that last leg before we get on final. So 2-mile right base. That way he knows where we're going to be, so he can find us with his binos. And I thought he was going to give us a straight in, so I actually got to change directions again.
That's the runway right there next to the river?
That's actually a levee road.
Ah, okay.
Or that might be their other runway, yeah. That is. I thought that was the access road. So the main runway is...
Yeah, I see I'm doing that. Right.
Yep. So not all controlled airports with control towers have radar. So these guys don't have radar. So they have to physically like look through the binos to find us, which is why they want us to be in a predictable spot, because they have to look for us.
Right.
All right, I'm going to start getting slowed down here. And we're sinking down into the low-level turbulence again. St. Joe Tower, Fort Charlie Mike on a 2-mile right base for 35.
Fort Charlie Mike, check close down runway 35, wind 080 clear to land, use caution mowers the left of runway, about midfield.
Okay, clear to land 35, and we'll be watching for the mowers. So this is a joint use airport. They fly C-130s out of here also. You can see a bunch of them parked there on the ramp.
Oh, yeah. Amazing the difference between the turbulence down here and up there, right?
Okay, we got birds all over here.
Experimental 4 Charlie Mike, turn right taxi to Bravo, hold short of Alpha, contact ground point 910.
Right on Bravo and hold short of Alpha. The pavement here is grooved for the big airplanes, and it makes a pretty good racket on our wheels. St. Joe ground, experimental 4 Charlie Mike at Bravo.
Experimental 4 Charlie Mike, hold short of taxiway Alpha for taxi aircraft.
Okay, we'll hold short.
And November 4, Charlie Mike, taxi Park Pier, taxiway Alpha.
Going to park in via Alpha.
St. Joe Ground, this is Piper Cherokee, November 267 Papa Charlie at Express Flight. I'm ready for takeoff. I'd like to remain in pattern for a series of touch-and-goes, and I have Bravo.
November 267 Papa Charlie, St. Joe Ground, runway 35, taxiway Alpha.
Runway 35 via Alpha 267 Papa Charlie.